Before we dive into this whole Harvard deal, subscribe below for new startup adventures and new tech every week. So much has transpired since last time I did one of these videos, and I have kind of been sitting on this topic for a while, to be honest. I'm not totally sure why. For those of you who don't know, a few months ago, end of April, I was offered the opportunity to speak at Harvard iLab to a class of grad students who are studying social entrepreneurship. This was so amazing. I mean, just one of many amazing opportunities I've had in Boston that I am so grateful for. I will say Boston has been like such a mixed bag for me because I professionally have had so much opportunity here as far as going to MIT and going to Harvard and going to Tufts and going to Northeastern and going to Mass Challenge and meeting teams who have been on Shark Tank and meeting teams from Kickstarter. It is like a startup dream for a person like me, and so this is one of many things I am so grateful for. But at the same time, personally, it's been really hard for me here. I moved out here a year ago. At the time of the Harvard talk, it was about 9 months ago. I'd moved to Boston, and I mean, I knew nobody here. I had no network here, no family here. My friends are not here, so I was really just like starting over. So anything that you see on this channel or people I've met, that is because I wanted to document every opportunity that I had here. But those are not old friends of mine. Those are not family members. Except for this one. This one is actually my brother, but we did film it in Chicago. These are all people who I've met in the last 8 months. Many of them I've met either while we're filming or a couple weeks before. It's just been like madness, and I just want to thank everybody who's been following along for the growth so far. Now I'm at 100 subscribers. You guys can expect not even just Boston startups, but foreshadow. I'm gonna start traveling to other cities, showing startups in those cities, which has been my dream. I'm pumped about this. But I did want to take a moment to mention the Harvard thing. It's one of those things that I am a super goal-oriented person. I always have a list of goals and like how I see my life in the future, and I am constantly working towards those things. What's weird is that my dream when I had moved to Boston was to just get inside MIT, like get inside Harvard, get inside these places and just like introduce myself and hopefully get some footage and meet some cool teams. But speaking at Harvard was so far from my mind. Like that is probably the last thing I would have thought would have come my way as an opportunity, especially at my age, 23. So it was a surreal experience, and I really just wanted to take a moment to document that kind of 24 hours and how I feel about that and how I felt about that, and just so other people can see it and like kind of know how that went down. First things first, I've been there a few times. There's an iLab and a launch lab is how Harvard works. The iLab is younger student-related teams, and I don't think you have to pay, like you just have to get accepted into the program. A launch lab is older teams. I think you have to pay for the space. So these aren't students, these people who have started their own business and are really trying to make it through. They don't have their student status to fall back on, which I get it. It's hard when you are not a student. I was at Launch Lab at the time, which is the older one, with Shivang Dave of Planoptica.
Yeah, so I'm Shivang, I'm one of 4 co-founders.
And I was filming his episode of TREPI, which was Startup 18. So I was filming with Shivang, and bear in mind I had worked an entire full day at Viral Games, which is my full-time job, which does video distribution. Plug. I get off at like 6. I go straight to Harvard Launch Lab and meet Shivang in person for the first time, get to know each other a little bit, and then we go and start filming. This is a Thursday night. We finish our episode. He's like, hey, if you haven't eaten dinner, it's like 9 at this point, 9 p.m. I had been working like 13 hours. He is like, hey, there's an event going on at iLab. If you want to go over there, there's free food, free drinks. I'm gonna head over there. There's other teams there. And so I had like been there a few times and I was starving. So I was like, yes. So I go over there with him. We get drinks, we get appetizers. It's so perfect. Just trying to decompress from the 13-hour day that I just had. So we're just talking. It's kind of ironic because we were actually talking about Boston and how it's kind of just been like a mixed bag. And so we were bonding over that. And then a professor comes up to us. He is a professor for social entrepreneurship grad school course. And he's like, what do you guys do? We get on the topic of how we knew each other, talks about his venture. I start talking about video and video distribution and like viral games and TREPI. My whole world revolves around video right now. And important note here about just surrounding yourself with people who are also passionate and on the same path as you. Had I not been standing next to Shivang, who A, was older than me and I think probably confused the professor, I think just being in that company honestly probably helped me. I had seen Grace and Jane from Room to Learn there too. So I think just having even like a very small network there was helpful. So just be open to expanding your network, especially if it's people who are on that same path as you, and passionate and driven and hardworking, because that will help open doors for you as well. Obviously, you both want to be providing each other value always, and you want to be providing other people value. But important note, just like surround yourself with like a good people. So he comes up to us and he's like, you know what, you guys actually would both fit into my lecture tomorrow perfectly. And I'm like, at first I said no. Shivang, he's like, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. He's talked about Panopticus so many times, and he's working on his job full time. I was like, thank you so much for the opportunity, but I have work tomorrow and I don't know if I'll be able to just leave in the middle of the day to come lecture to your class, which is so dumb. He leaves it as like, okay, well, if you change your mind or are able to come tomorrow, just let me know, you can pop in. I zombie myself home because I am bags on bags on bags at this point. Basically tell my roommates, kind of jokingly, I was like, oh yeah, the professor actually asked me to come to his lecture tomorrow and talk to his grad students. And my roommates are like, you should do that. Probably 10:30 p.m. at this point. I start getting together a presentation, just an outline of things that I want to say and how I can combine my full-time job, viral games, and video distribution we do for big, major brands, and TREPI and what I'm doing with startups and how you can create video content that's engaging even when you're just starting small, like a YouTube channel. I go into work, talk with the founder of Viral Games. A couple hours later when he gets into the office, he makes a couple tweaks on the viral games aspect of what I'm gonna say, and then I have about 1 hour to figure out what I'm gonna say to the lecture. So I ended up giving the talk about maximizing engagement to video. I pulled in elements from viral games and what we do for big brands. There's a lot of ways to get the consumer engaged and get them in a two-way conversation. And that's what you really want. That's what's going to make you stand out. That's what's going to make them feel like they have a relationship with you. Especially as you guys are building social impact ventures. I mean, you really want people to not just feel like it's a good cause, you want them to act on it. And then I talked about TREPI and like what I've been doing with my own channel, growing it, and things that have worked well for me, and the importance and power of storytelling and what it can really do for you. In your case, partnering with different websites to backlink your YouTube videos, if you guys know what that is. Then people ask me some questions, and there's a little bit of Q&A.
Yeah, I spoke at TREPI. Why was so successful?
Curious to know where the eye of TREPI came from.
And then a few people came up after and spoke with me, which was great. I feel like that was a good sign. All in all, it was a really incredible experience that I am so grateful to have had. If you guys have any questions, please like this video, leave some feedback in the comments, and subscribe below.